You don't need a title to earn respect. You need reliability. Dale Carnegie taught that it's not who you know, it's how you make people feel when they know you. The strongest reputations are built quietly, through consistent kindness, small courtesies, and follow-through. People remember the tone of your voice, the patience in your eyes, and the handshake you didn't rush. Your character is built in private and revealed in public. It's not flashy, but it lasts. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Listen carefully. The most respected person in your office isn't the one with the biggest title on their door. It's the one people go to when they need real help. The one who remembers birthdays. The one who stays late to help a colleague finish a project without being asked. Here's what most people don't understand about respect. It doesn't flow downward from authority. It rises upward from character. I've watched janitors command more genuine respect than executives. I've seen interns with more influence than department heads. The difference? They understood something fundamental about human nature. People don't respect your position. They respect your person. Think about the people you truly respect in your life. I guarantee none of them demanded it. They earned it. Day by day, choice by choice, small act by small act. Your title might open doors, but your character keeps them open. Your position might get you a meeting, but your integrity gets you invited back. Your rank might give you authority, but only your authenticity gives you influence. But let me ask you this. What does it mean to be respected without a title? It means when you walk into a room, conversations don't stop. They get better. People lean in. They ask for your opinion not because they have to, but because they want to. They trust your judgment. They value your presence. Real respect is earned in the moments when nobody's watching. It's built in the small decisions that reveal who you really are. The way you treat the waitress when you're having a bad day, how you respond when someone cuts you off in traffic, whether you keep your promises when it's inconvenient. Respect doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. It speaks through your actions, whispers through your consistency, and shouts through your character when character is what's needed most. The person with genuine respect doesn't need to remind people of their accomplishments. Others do that for them. They don't have to demand attention. They command it naturally. They don't have to ask to be heard. People stop talking when they speak. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being reliable. It's about being the person others can count on when it matters. The one who shows up, the one who follows through, the one who cares more about doing right than being right. Here's your challenge today. Stop waiting for recognition. Start earning it. Stop demanding respect. Start deserving it. Look for one small way to add value to someone else's day without expecting anything in return. Because when you build respect through character instead of chasing it through position, something powerful happens. People don't just respect what you do, they respect who you are. And that's the kind of respect that lasts. Predictability gets a bad reputation. People think it means boring. They're wrong. The most trusted people in your life are predictable in the best possible way. They show up when they say they will. They do what they promise. They respond the way you expect them to, with kindness, with integrity, with their word intact. Here's what most people don't understand about trust. It's not built in grand gestures. It's built in small, consistent actions repeated over time. Think about the people you trust most. I bet they're the ones who answer their phone when you call, who remember what you told them last week, who keep their promises even when it's inconvenient. Trust is predictability applied to character. When people know what to expect from you and what they expect is good, that's when real trust begins. But let me ask you this. Are you someone others can predict will do the right thing? The most powerful form of predictability isn't about your schedule. It's about your values. People need to know that when the pressure comes, you won't compromise who you are. When the choice gets difficult, you'll choose integrity. When it would be easier to let them down, you'll find a way to show up. Unreliable people create anxiety. They make others nervous. Will they follow through this time? Can I count on them? Will they keep their word? Reliable people create peace. They make others feel safe. There's no wondering, no worrying, no second-guessing. When they say yes, it means yes. When they commit, it's done. This isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about being consistent in the things that matter most. Your core values don't change with your mood. Your commitment to others doesn't waver based on how you feel that day. The beautiful thing about being predictably good is that it gives you tremendous freedom. When people trust your character, they give you the benefit of the doubt. When they know your heart, they assume good intentions even when your words come out wrong. Predictable people sleep better at night. They don't have to remember which version of themselves they showed to which person. They don't have to keep track of which promises they might have broken. They can be the same person everywhere they go. Your reputation for reliability becomes your greatest asset. It opens doors that talent alone cannot open. It creates opportunities that connections alone cannot create. It builds relationships that circumstances alone cannot break. Here's your challenge today. Identify one area where you've been inconsistent. Maybe it's returning calls. Maybe it's keeping small promises. Maybe it's being on time. Choose one thing and commit to making it predictably excellent. Because when you become someone others can count on completely, something remarkable happens. They stop questioning whether you'll show up. They start planning on it. And that's the foundation of every meaningful relationship in life. How you shake a hand tells me everything I need to know about you. Not just your confidence, but your respect for others. Not just your personality, but your character. The little things aren't little. They're everything. Here's what most people don't understand about character. It's not revealed in the moments when everyone's watching. It's revealed in the moments when no one is. How you treat the person who can do nothing for you. How you behave when you think nobody's looking. How you respond when you're tired, stressed, or running late. These aren't small details. They're the truest measure of who you are. Your character is like a foundation. Nobody sees it, but everything else rests on it. And just like a foundation, it's built one small piece at a time. The way you return a shopping cart. The way you speak to customer service. The way you handle being wrong. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're not. They're character in action. But let me ask you this. What are your little things revealing about you? People notice more than you think. They notice when you're 5 minutes late to every meeting. They notice when you interrupt others mid-sentence. They notice when you promise to call and don't. They also notice when you remember their coffee order, when you clean up after yourself without being asked. When you give credit where credit is due, the little things are where your reputation is really built. Anyone can be impressive in the big moments, but who you are in the small moments, that's who you really are. Your attention to detail reveals your respect for others. Your consistency in small things builds confidence in big things. Your character in private moments creates trust in public ones. The most respected people I know aren't perfect, but they're consistent in their imperfection. They admit their mistakes quickly. They apologize sincerely. They make things right without making excuses. Character isn't about never failing. It's about how you handle failure when it comes. It's about what you do when you mess up, when you're wrong, when you fall short of your own standards. The little things compound. Small courtesies build big relationships. Small consistencies create large trust. Small integrity creates massive reputation. Every interaction is an investment. Every small choice is a deposit in the bank of your character. Every moment of integrity adds to the foundation of your reputation. Here's your challenge today. Pay attention to the little things. How do you end phone calls? How do you respond when someone thanks you? How do you behave when you're in a hurry? Choose one small thing to improve. Make it excellent. Make it consistent. Make it a reflection of who you want to be. Because the truth is, there are no small moments when it comes to character. Every moment is a choice. Every choice is a statement. Every statement becomes part of your story. And the most beautiful thing about character? It's never too late to start writing a better story. The strongest people in the room are often the quietest, not because they have nothing to say, but because they choose their moments. They understand something most people don't. Real strength isn't loud. Emotional intelligence is the ability to stay calm when others lose control, to listen when others argue, to think when others react. Here's what most people don't understand about emotional intelligence. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about managing them so they serve you instead of controlling you. The person with emotional intelligence doesn't explode when frustrated. They pause. They breathe. They ask themselves what response would be most helpful. Not most satisfying, most helpful. They don't take things personally that aren't personal. They don't assume bad intentions when simple mistakes are more likely. They give others the benefit of the doubt because they know everyone is fighting battles they can't see. But let me ask you this. How do you respond when someone pushes your buttons? The emotionally intelligent person doesn't have fewer buttons. They just don't let others control the pushing. They recognize when someone is having a bad day and choose not to make it worse. They see past behavior to understand the person behind it. This isn't weakness. This is strength in its purest form. Anyone can lose control. Anyone can get angry. Anyone can react without thinking. It takes real strength to stay centered when chaos surrounds you. People trust those who stay calm in storms. They follow those who think clearly under pressure. They respect those who make decisions from wisdom, not emotion. Emotional intelligence shows up in how you handle conflict. Do you escalate or de-escalate? Do you seek to win or to understand? Do you make enemies or solve problems? It shows up in how you give feedback. Do you criticize the person or address the behavior? Do you build up or tear down? Do you help others improve or just vent your frustration? It shows up in how you receive criticism. Do you get defensive or get curious? Do you make excuses or make improvements? Do you blame others or examine yourself? The emotionally intelligent person doesn't need to be right all the time. They'd rather be helpful. They don't need to have the last word. They'd rather have the right word at the right time. They understand that emotions are information, not instructions. Anger tells you something matters to you. Fear tells you to pay attention. Sadness tells you to slow down and process. But none of these emotions should make your decisions for you. Here's your challenge today. The next time you feel a strong emotion, pause before you respond. Ask yourself 3 questions. What am I really feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What response would be most helpful right now? Because emotional intelligence isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotional with purpose. It's about feeling deeply while thinking clearly. It's about letting your heart inform your decisions without letting it make them. And when you master this quiet strength, something powerful happens. Others feel safe around you. They trust your judgment. They seek your counsel. Because they know that whatever storm is raging, you'll be the calm in the center of it. The most influential people I know rarely raise their voices. They don't need to. When they speak, people listen. Not because they demand attention, but because they command respect. Your tone is your reputation's soundtrack. It plays in the background of every interaction, shaping how people feel about you long after the words are forgotten. Here's what most people don't understand about influence. It doesn't come from volume. It comes from value. It doesn't come from force. It comes from authenticity. A gentle tone doesn't mean weak words. It means strong words delivered with wisdom. It means saying difficult things in ways that people can actually hear them. Think about the teachers who changed your life. I bet they weren't the ones who yelled. They were the ones who spoke to you like you mattered. Who challenged you while believing in you. Who corrected you without crushing you. The gentle tone is the sound of confidence. When you know what you're talking about, you don't need to shout it. When you believe in your message, you can deliver it with quiet conviction. But let me ask you this. What does your tone say about you? A harsh tone creates resistance. It makes people defensive. It shuts down conversations before they start. It builds walls instead of bridges. A gentle tone creates connection. It invites dialogue. It makes people feel safe to be honest. It opens hearts and minds. This doesn't mean being soft when strength is needed. It means being controlled when chaos would be easier. It means choosing words that heal instead of words that harm. Your tone affects everyone around you. It sets the temperature in the room. It influences the energy of every interaction. It determines whether people walk away feeling better or worse about themselves. The person with influence understands that how you say something is often more important than what you say. They know that people forget your words, but remember how you made them feel. A gentle tone is particularly powerful in difficult conversations. When tensions are high, a calm voice can change everything. When emotions are running hot, a cool tone can bring the temperature down. It's not about being fake or suppressing your feelings. It's about choosing to respond rather than react. It's about asking yourself what tone would serve this moment best. Sometimes a gentle tone means speaking softer. Sometimes it means speaking slower. Sometimes it means pausing before you speak at all. The beauty of a gentle tone is that it makes others want to match it. Kindness is contagious. Respect is reciprocal. When you speak with gentleness, you invite others to do the same. Your tone is a choice. In every conversation, in every moment, you decide how you want to sound. You decide what energy you want to bring. You decide what kind of interaction you want to create. Here's your challenge today. Pay attention to your tone in every conversation. Notice how people respond when you speak gently versus when you speak harshly. Notice how it feels to be on the receiving end of different tones. Choose one conversation today where you would normally use a harsh or impatient tone. Instead, try speaking with gentleness. See what happens. Because the truth is, a gentle tone isn't just about being nice. It's about being effective. It's about getting your message heard instead of just getting it out. It's about influence that lasts long after your voice has gone quiet. Safety isn't just physical. The deepest kind of safety is emotional. And the people who make others feel emotionally safe become unforgettable. Think about the person you turn to when everything falls apart. I guarantee it's not the smartest person you know. It's not the most successful or the most talented. It's the person who makes you feel safe to be yourself. Here's what most people don't understand about relationships. They're not built on perfection. They're built on safety. People don't need you to have all the answers. They need to know they won't be judged for not having them either. Emotional safety means people can be honest with you without fear of ridicule. They can make mistakes without fear of rejection. They can be vulnerable without fear of betrayal. When someone feels safe with you, they drop their guard. They stop performing and start being real. They stop trying to impress you and start trusting you. But let me ask you this. Do people feel safe in your presence? Creating safety starts with how you respond to people's mistakes. Do you shame them or help them learn? Do you make them feel foolish or make them feel human? It continues with how you handle their vulnerabilities. When someone shares something personal, do you treasure that trust or treat it carelessly? Do you hold their confidence or spread their business? Safety is created in the small moments. It's in the way you listen without interrupting, the way you ask questions without interrogating, the way you offer help without taking over. Safe people don't keep score. They don't throw past mistakes in your face during current arguments. They don't use your vulnerabilities as weapons when they're angry. Safe people are consistent. You don't have to wonder which version of them you're going to get today. You don't have to walk on eggshells around their moods. You know they'll treat you with the same respect, whether they're having a good day or a bad one. Safe people make you feel accepted, not just tolerated. They celebrate your wins without jealousy. They support you through losses without judgment. They see your potential even when you can't see it yourself. Creating safety isn't about being perfect. It's about being predictably kind. It's about being someone others know they can count on for understanding, patience, and grace. When you make someone feel safe, you give them a gift they rarely receive, the freedom to be themselves completely. No masks, no pretending, no exhausting performance. Just authentic human connection. This kind of safety creates loyalty that can't be bought or negotiated. People will choose to be around you not because they have to, but because being with you feels like coming home. The safest people are often the most magnetic. Not because they're entertaining or impressive, but because they're genuine and accepting. They make others feel valued for who they are, not what they do. Here's your challenge today. Think about someone in your life who might not feel completely safe with you. Maybe it's because you've been critical, impatient, or inconsistent. Choose one way to make them feel safer. Maybe it's apologizing for past harshness. Maybe it's listening without offering advice. Maybe it's simply saying, "I'm glad you told me that," when they share something personal. Because when you become a safe harbor in someone's storm, something beautiful happens. They don't just remember what you did for them. They remember how you made them feel, and that feeling becomes the foundation of trust that lasts a lifetime. Please, thank you. You're welcome. 3 simple phrases that cost nothing but are worth everything. In a world that moves faster every day, courtesy has become a rare gift, and rare gifts are valuable gifts. Here's what most people don't understand about manners. They're not old-fashioned, rules created to make life complicated. They're time-tested ways to make others feel valued. Courtesy is kindness in action. It's treating others with dignity regardless of their position, their mood, or what they can do for you. The courteous person says please when asking for something, not because they're weak, but because they're strong enough to acknowledge they need help. They say thank you not because they owe something, but because they recognize the gift in someone else's effort. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you were genuinely surprised by someone's courtesy? Probably recently, because courtesy has become so uncommon that when we encounter it, it stops us in our tracks. The person who lets you merge in traffic, the stranger who holds the elevator, the colleague who says thank you for something small. These moments matter more than we realize. They restore our faith in humanity. They remind us that kindness still exists. They make us want to pass it forward. Courtesy isn't about following rules. It's about following your heart toward treating others well. It's about recognizing that everyone you meet is fighting battles you know nothing about, and choosing to make their day a little easier instead of harder. Simple courtesy changes everything. Saying someone's name when you greet them, looking up from your phone when they're talking, holding the door for the person behind you. These aren't grand gestures. They're small acts of recognition. They say, I see you. You matter. You're worth my attention and effort. The beautiful thing about courtesy is that it's contagious. When you treat someone with genuine respect, they often turn around and treat the next person the same way. One small act of courtesy can ripple through dozens of interactions. Courtesy also diffuses tension. When someone is angry or frustrated, responding with genuine politeness often catches them off guard. It's hard to stay angry at someone who's treating you with sincere respect. This doesn't mean being fake or overly formal. Real courtesy comes from genuine care for others. It's not about perfect etiquette. It's about perfect intentions. The most courteous people I know make everyone feel important. They thank the janitor as warmly as they thank the CEO. They're as polite to the waiter as they are to their biggest client. Courtesy reveals character. How you treat people who can't benefit you shows who you really are. How you behave when you're tired, stressed, or running late reveals your true nature. Your reputation for courtesy precedes you. People remember the person who says please and thank you. They remember the person who apologizes when they're wrong. They remember the person who treats everyone with dignity. Here's your challenge today. Make courtesy your superpower. Say please and thank you more often than necessary. Hold doors. Let people merge. Look people in the eye when they're talking. Pick one person you interact with regularly but rarely thank. Maybe the security guard, the coffee shop employee, or the cleaning person at your office. Thank them genuinely for what they do. Because courtesy isn't about being proper, it's about being human. It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and choosing to make the journey a little more pleasant for everyone we meet. In a world that often feels harsh and hurried, courtesy is a form of rebellion. It's choosing kindness when rudeness would be easier. It's choosing patience when hurry would be faster. It's choosing grace when judgment would be simpler. When you say, "I've got it," mean it. When you promise, "I'll handle it," handle it. When you commit to, "I'll be there," be there. Dependability isn't just a nice quality to have. It's the foundation of every meaningful relationship, every successful career, every lasting reputation. Here's what most people don't understand about being dependable. It's not about being perfect. It's about being reliable in your imperfection. It's about communicating honestly when you can't deliver and making it right when you fall short. The person who can be counted on doesn't say yes to everything. They say yes to what they can truly commit to, and they follow through completely on those commitments. They understand that their word is their bond. When they give it, they honor it. When they can't keep it, they communicate early and make amends. But let me ask you this: are you someone others can count on completely? Think about the last time someone let you down. How did it feel? Now think about someone who has never let you down. How do you feel about that person? Dependable people sleep well at night. They don't lie awake wondering what they forgot to do or who they might have disappointed. They keep their commitments so consistently that others stop worrying about whether they'll follow through. Dependability shows up in the small things: returning calls when you say you will, showing up on time, doing what you promised even when it's no longer convenient. It shows up in the big things too. Being there for someone during their crisis, following through on important projects when the pressure is on, keeping confidences that were shared in trust. The dependable person doesn't make excuses, they make things happen. When obstacles arise, they find ways around them. When problems occur, they solve them. When mistakes happen, they own them and fix them. Dependability is a choice you make every single day. It's choosing to honor your commitments even when you don't feel like it. It's choosing to follow through even when it's hard. It's choosing to be reliable even when others aren't. Being dependable doesn't mean you never fail. It means when you do fail, you take responsibility quickly and make things right completely. You don't blame circumstances or other people. You own the outcome and improve the process. The most dependable people I know have systems. They write things down. They set reminders. They plan ahead. They don't trust their memory with other people's expectations. They also communicate proactively. If they're going to be 5 minutes late, they call ahead. If a project is taking longer than expected, they update everyone involved. They never leave people guessing or wondering. Dependability creates trust, and trust creates opportunity. When people know they can count on you, they give you more responsibility. When they know you'll follow through, they involve you in bigger projects. When they know you're reliable, they recommend you to others. Your reputation for dependability becomes your greatest professional asset and your most valuable personal quality. It opens doors that talent alone cannot open. It creates relationships that circumstances alone cannot break. Here's your challenge today. Look at your current commitments. Are there any you're not honoring fully? Any promises you've made but haven't kept? Any expectations you've created but aren't meeting? Choose one commitment you've been handling carelessly and make it excellent. Follow through completely. Communicate proactively. Exceed expectations rather than just meeting them, because when you become someone others can count on completely, something powerful happens. They stop questioning whether you'll deliver. They start planning on it, and that's when your reputation transforms from good to exceptional. Anyone can follow through when it's easy. Your reputation is built when it's hard, when the deadline is comfortable, when you have all the resources you need, when everything goes according to plan. Following through takes no character. It's just logistics. But when the deadline gets moved up, when resources get cut, when plans fall apart, that's when following through reveals who you really are. Here's what most people don't understand about commitment. It's not tested in ideal conditions. It's tested when conditions are terrible and you follow through anyway. The person with real integrity doesn't follow through only when it's convenient. They follow through especially when it's not. They find a way to keep their word even when circumstances make it difficult. But let me ask you this. What's your track record when following through becomes inconvenient? Real character shows up at 2 a.m. when you realize you promised to finish something by morning. It shows up when you're sick but committed to attend an important meeting. It shows up when keeping your word costs you more than you expected to pay. The easiest thing in the world is to make excuses when circumstances change. The weather wasn't cooperating. Traffic was terrible. The system was down. Other people didn't do their part. All of these might be true. None of them matter to the person counting on you. Following through when it's inconvenient separates professionals from amateurs. Amateurs follow through when it's easy. Professionals follow through no matter what. This doesn't mean being unreasonable with yourself or others. It means being creative in finding solutions when the original plan doesn't work. It means communicating early when problems arise and working twice as hard to minimize the impact on others. The person who follows through when it's hard builds a reputation that opens doors everywhere they go. They become known as someone who finds a way, someone who gets things done, someone you can count on when it matters most. Following through when it's inconvenient often requires sacrifice. You might have to work late. You might have to spend your own money. You might have to cancel personal plans. But every sacrifice you make for your integrity pays dividends in reputation. People remember who showed up when showing up was difficult. They remember who kept their promise when breaking it would have been understandable. They remember who made it happen when making it happen seemed impossible. This kind of follow-through creates stories that get told for years. Remember when Sarah drove through that snowstorm to make the presentation? Remember when Mike worked all weekend to fix that problem? These stories become your reputation. Following through when it's inconvenient also builds your own confidence. Every time you keep a commitment despite obstacles, you prove to yourself that you're someone who can be counted on. This self-trust becomes the foundation for bigger commitments and greater achievements. The inconvenient follow-through teaches you resourcefulness. When the easy path is blocked, you learn to find creative solutions. When Plan A fails, you develop Plan B, C, and D. This makes you more valuable in every situation. Here's your challenge. Today, think about a commitment you've made that has become inconvenient to keep. Maybe circumstances have changed. Maybe it's going to cost more than you expected. Maybe it's going to be harder than you thought. Don't look for ways to get out of it. Look for ways to honor it. Get creative. Ask for help. Work harder. Find a way to keep your word despite the inconvenience, because your reputation isn't built on what you do when it's easy. It's built on what you do when it's hard. And when you become known as someone who follows through, especially when it's inconvenient, you become someone others seek out when they need things done that matter most. People remember the moment someone truly listened. Be that listener. In a world where everyone is waiting for their turn to talk, the person who actually listens stands out like a lighthouse in the fog. Here's what most people don't understand about conversation. It's not about what you say. It's about what you hear. It's not about being interesting. It's about being interested. The most memorable conversations in your life weren't the ones where you did most of the talking. They were the ones where you felt most heard. Think about the last time someone gave you their complete attention. No phone checking, no interrupting, no preparing their response while you were still speaking. Just pure, focused listening. How did that feel? How did that make you feel about that person? But let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave someone that gift? Real listening is rare. Most people are just waiting for a pause so they can start talking. They're not listening to understand, they're listening to reply. The person who truly listens asks questions that show they're paying attention. They remember details from previous conversations. They follow up on things that mattered to you. True listening requires courage. It means being comfortable with silence while someone gathers their thoughts. It means asking questions that might lead to difficult conversations. It means caring more about their story than your own. When you listen with genuine interest, something magical happens. People feel valued, they feel understood. They feel safe to share more deeply. The power of a single conversation can change someone's entire day. Sometimes their entire perspective. Sometimes their entire life. I've seen careers launched because someone listened to a dream and offered encouragement. I've seen relationships saved because someone listened to hurt and offered understanding. I've seen lives changed because someone listened to pain and offered hope. Your attention is a gift. When you give it fully to someone, you're saying they matter. Their thoughts matter. Their feelings matter. Their story matters. But real listening goes beyond just hearing words. It's listening for what's not being said. It's hearing the emotion behind the words. It's understanding the need behind the request. The best listeners I know make people feel like they're the only person in the room. They create a space where others feel safe to be vulnerable, honest, and real. They don't listen to judge. They listen to understand. They don't listen to fix. They listen to connect. They don't listen to advise. They listen to appreciate. Good listeners ask better questions. Instead of, "How was your day?" they ask, "What was the best part of your day?" Instead of, "How are you?" they ask, "What's on your mind lately?" They remember what you tell them, not just the facts, but the feelings. They check in about things that were important to you. They celebrate your wins and acknowledge your struggles. A single conversation with a great listener can be more valuable than a dozen conversations with poor ones. It can provide clarity when you're confused, comfort when you're hurting, and confidence when you're doubting yourself. Here's your challenge today. Have one conversation where you focus entirely on listening. Put away your phone. Stop thinking about what you're going to say next. Just listen with your full attention. Ask follow-up questions. Remember details. Show genuine interest in what the other person is sharing. Make them feel heard in a way they rarely experience. Because when you become someone who truly listens, something beautiful happens. People seek you out. They trust you with their thoughts, their dreams, their fears. They know that with you, they're not just making noise, they're being heard. And in a world full of noise, being heard is one of the greatest gifts you can give another human being. Integrity doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need spotlights or applause. It grows quietly in the choices you make when no one is watching. Real integrity is what you do when it would be easier to cut corners and no one would ever know the difference. Here's what most people don't understand about integrity. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest about your imperfections. It's not about never making mistakes. It's about owning them when you do. Integrity is doing the right thing even when the right thing is hard, expensive, or unpopular. It's keeping your word even when circumstances change. It's telling the truth even when a lie would be more convenient. The person with integrity returns the extra change when the cashier makes a mistake. They give credit to others for work they didn't do. They admit when they don't know something, instead of pretending they do. But let me ask you this. What does your integrity look like when no one is watching? Integrity is revealed in the small moments. How you handle finding someone's lost wallet. What you do when you realize you've been undercharged. How you respond when you could easily blame someone else for your mistake. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're not. They're the building blocks of character. They're the foundation of reputation. They're the seeds of trust. The beautiful thing about integrity is that it compounds. Each small choice to do the right thing makes the next right choice easier. Each moment of honesty builds a habit of truthfulness. Each act of courage creates capacity for greater courage. Integrity also creates internal peace. When you live in alignment with your values, you don't have to keep track of different versions of yourself. You don't have to remember what you told whom. You can be the same person everywhere you go. People with integrity sleep well at night. They don't lie awake wondering if someone will discover their deceptions. They don't worry about their past catching up with them. They don't fear exposure because they have nothing to hide. Integrity is attractive, not in a flashy way, but in a deep, lasting way. People are drawn to those they can trust completely. They want to work with them, live with them, and learn from them. The person with integrity doesn't need to promote themselves. Others do it for them. They don't need to defend their character. Their actions speak for themselves. They don't need to demand trust. They earn it naturally. Integrity sometimes costs money. You might lose a sale by being honest about your product's limitations. You might miss an opportunity by refusing to compromise your values. You might pay more by choosing the ethical option. But these costs are investments in your reputation. They're deposits in the bank of trust. They're down payments on long-term relationships and sustainable success. Integrity also sometimes costs relationships. Not everyone will appreciate your honesty. Not everyone will respect your boundaries. Not everyone will understand your standards. That's okay. The relationships you lose by maintaining your integrity weren't worth keeping anyway. The ones that remain will be stronger and more authentic. Here's your challenge today. Identify one area where you've been cutting corners or compromising your values. Maybe it's small, like stretching the truth on your resume. Maybe it's bigger, like not speaking up when you see something wrong. Choose integrity. Do the right thing, even if it costs you. Tell the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. Take responsibility even if you could avoid it, because integrity grows quietly, but its impact is loud. It creates trust that opens doors. It builds relationships that last. It develops character that can't be bought or borrowed, and when you're known as a person of integrity, you become someone others aspire to be like. You become living proof that doing the right thing is still possible, still valuable, and still worth it. Long after the words fade, your consistency remains. Actions, not slogans, define who you are. Your behavior is your brand. Not what you say about yourself, but what you do repeatedly. Not your intentions, but your actions. Not your promises, but your performance. Here's what most people don't understand about personal branding. It's not about marketing yourself. It's about being yourself so consistently that others know exactly what to expect from you. Your brand isn't what you post on social media. It's how you treat the waiter when you're having a bad day. It's whether you show up on time. It's how you handle conflict, criticism, and pressure. Every interaction is a brand impression. Every choice is a brand statement. Every day is a chance to strengthen or weaken what you stand for. But let me ask you this. If people described your behavior to someone who had never met you, what picture would they paint? The strongest personal brands are built on consistency, not perfection, but predictability in the things that matter most. People know what you'll do because you've shown them over and over again. They know you'll be honest because you've never lied to them. They know you'll be on time because you've never kept them waiting. They know you'll follow through because you've never let them down. Your behavioral brand is more powerful than any resume, any title, or any marketing campaign. It's the real you that people experience day after day, interaction after interaction. Think about the people you respect most. What are they known for? I bet it's not their accomplishments. It's their character. It's how they behave when things get difficult. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. It's the reputation that precedes you into every meeting, every relationship, every opportunity. The challenge with behavioral branding is that you can't control it through messaging. You can only control it through choices. Every single day, with every single interaction, you're either strengthening your brand or weakening it. One moment of poor behavior can damage a brand that took years to build. One breach of trust can undermine decades of consistency. One moment of character failure can overshadow countless moments of character strength. But here's the encouraging truth. Every moment is also an opportunity to strengthen your brand. Every interaction is a chance to demonstrate your values. Every choice is an opportunity to build trust. The most powerful personal brands are built on values that don't change with circumstances. They're the same person in public and in private. They're the same person when they're winning and when they're losing. Your brand should be authentic to who you really are, not who you think you should be. Trying to be someone else is exhausting and ultimately unsustainable. Being yourself consistently is both easier and more attractive. The best personal brands solve problems for others. They make people's lives better, easier, or more enjoyable. They add value to every interaction and every relationship. Your behavioral brand becomes your competitive advantage. When people know they can count on you, they choose you over others with similar qualifications. When they know what to expect from you, they feel safe investing in a relationship with you. Here's your challenge today. Define what you want your behavioral brand to be. What do you want to be known for? How do you want people to feel after interacting with you? What values do you want to demonstrate consistently? Then, look at your recent behavior. Are your actions aligning with your intended brand? Are you consistently demonstrating the values you want to be known for? Choose one behavior that needs to align better with your desired brand. Maybe it's being more patient, more punctual, or more positive. Commit to demonstrating this behavior consistently for the next week, because your behavior is your brand, and your brand is your reputation, and your reputation is the foundation of every opportunity, every relationship, and every achievement in your life. True leadership isn't about taking credit. It's about lifting others without needing the applause. The most effective leaders I know are often the quietest ones in the room, not because they lack confidence, but because they're confident enough to let others shine. Here's what most people don't understand about leadership. It's not about being the smartest person in the room. It's about making everyone else in the room smarter. It's not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions. Leadership without ego looks different. It deflects credit and absorbs blame. It celebrates team wins and takes responsibility for team losses. It makes others feel valued, capable, and important. The ego-driven leader says, "I did this." The selfless leader says, "We accomplished this together." The ego-driven leader hoards information. The selfless leader shares knowledge freely, but let me ask you this. When you're in a leadership position, what motivates you more? Being recognized or seeing others succeed? Leaders without ego create psychological safety. People feel comfortable sharing ideas, admitting mistakes, and asking for help. They don't fear being embarrassed or diminished. They know their leader wants them to succeed. This kind of leadership multiplies effectiveness. When people feel safe and valued, they contribute more. They take initiative. They solve problems. They go above and beyond, not because they have to, but because they want to. Ego-free leadership also attracts the best people. Talented individuals want to work for leaders who will help them grow, not leaders who will overshadow them. They want to be developed, not diminished. The leader without ego asks, "How can I help you succeed?" instead of, "How can you help me look good?" They invest in others' development because they understand that their success is measured by their team's success. This doesn't mean being weak or passive. Ego-free leaders make tough decisions. They hold people accountable. They set high standards. But they do it all in service of the team's success, not their own image. They give feedback that helps people improve rather than criticism that tears them down. They challenge others to grow rather than competing with them. They create opportunities for others to lead rather than micromanaging every detail. The most loyal teams are built around leaders who put the team first. These leaders earn loyalty not through power or position, but through genuine care and consistent service to others' success. When you lead without ego, you create a culture where others want to lead the same way. your approach becomes contagious. Your team starts lifting each other up. Your organization becomes stronger at every level. Ego-free leadership is sustainable. You don't burn out trying to be perfect or maintain an image. You don't exhaust yourself competing with your own team. You find energy in others' success rather than depleting it through constant self-promotion. This kind of leadership also weathers storms better. When challenges come, the team rallies around leaders they trust and respect. They work harder to support someone who has consistently supported them. The legacy of ego-free leadership lasts long after you're gone. The people you developed go on to develop others. The culture you created continues to grow. The trust you built becomes the foundation for ongoing success. Here's your challenge today. If you're in any leadership position, formal or informal, ask yourself what you can do to make someone else successful today. How can you share credit? How can you create opportunities for others? How can you develop someone's skills or confidence? Choose one person you influence and find a way to lift them up. Give them recognition they deserve. Provide them with an opportunity to shine. Help them develop a skill they need, because leadership without ego doesn't just inspire loyalty. It creates more leaders. And the world always needs more people who understand that true strength comes from lifting others up, not holding them down. You can't fake sincerity. And when you're genuine, people feel it, and they trust it. Before you say a single word, people sense your intentions. They feel whether you care about them or just want something from them. They know whether you're being real or just being strategic. Here's what most people don't understand about human connection. We're incredibly good at detecting authenticity. We can sense when someone genuinely cares and when they're just going through the motions. Your intentions create an energy that others feel immediately. When you're genuinely interested in helping, people relax. When you're genuinely happy to see them, they light up. When you genuinely care about their well-being, they open up. But when your intentions are selfish, people feel that too. They become guarded. They keep the conversation surface level. They look for ways to end the interaction. But let me ask you this: what are people feeling from you before you even speak? Genuine intentions can't be manufactured. They come from actually caring about others, not just appearing to care. They come from seeing people as valuable in themselves, not just for what they can do for you. The person with genuine intentions asks about your weekend because they actually want to know, not because they read in a book that it builds rapport. They remember details about your life because those details matter to them, not because they're trying to impress you. Authentic care is magnetic. When someone truly cares about your well-being, you want to be around them. When someone is genuinely interested in your thoughts, you want to share them. When someone truly values you as a person, you naturally want to help them. People with genuine intentions don't have to work at building relationships. Relationships build naturally around them because others feel safe and valued in their presence. The beautiful thing about genuine intentions is that they make every interaction easier. You don't have to remember what face to put on or what role to play. You can just be yourself and care about others, and that's enough. Genuine intentions also create genuine results. When you truly care about solving someone's problem, you find better solutions. When you genuinely want to help someone succeed, you discover more creative ways to support them. But genuine intentions require something many people find difficult: actually caring about others as much as you care about yourself. It means being interested in their success, their happiness, their growth. This doesn't mean neglecting yourself. It means expanding your definition of success to include others' well-being. It means finding joy in others' victories, not just your own. The most influential people I know have mastered this. They genuinely care about the people they interact with. They're not networking, they're connecting. They're not using people, they're serving them. When your intentions are genuine, you don't have to worry about saying the right thing. Your sincerity communicates even when your words aren't perfect. People forgive clumsy language when they feel genuine care behind it. Genuine intentions also make you more attractive as a person. Not because you're trying to be attractive, but because authentic care and interest are naturally appealing qualities. The challenge is staying genuine when it would be easier to be strategic. When you need something from someone, can you still care about them as a person? When you're under pressure, can you still treat others with authentic respect? Here's your challenge today. Before your next important conversation, check your intentions. Are you genuinely interested in the other person, or are you just focused on what you want from them? If you realize your intentions aren't genuine, take a moment to shift your perspective. Find something you genuinely appreciate about this person. Identify ways their success would make you happy. Get curious about their challenges and how you might help, because when you approach others with genuine intentions, something beautiful happens. They feel it immediately. They respond with openness instead of defensiveness. They trust you with their real thoughts instead of just their polite responses. And that's where real influence begins, not with perfect techniques, but with genuine care. Owning your mistake doesn't weaken you. It humanizes you and earns lasting respect. The strongest people I know are quick to apologize when they're wrong, not because they're weak, but because they're strong enough to face the truth about themselves. Here's what most people don't understand about apologies. They're not admissions of weakness. They're demonstrations of character. They show that you value the relationship more than your ego. A genuine apology has power. It disarms anger. It opens dialogue. It creates space for healing and rebuilding. It turns conflicts into connections and mistakes into growth opportunities. But most people apologize poorly. They say, "I'm sorry you feel that way," instead of, "I'm sorry I hurt you." They make excuses instead of taking responsibility. They apologize for getting caught instead of for what they did. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you gave a truly great apology? A great apology has 4 parts. First, you acknowledge specifically what you did wrong, not vague generalities, but clear, specific recognition of your actions and their impact. Second, you take full responsibility without making excuses. You don't blame circumstances, other people, or bad timing. You own your choice and its consequences. Third, you express genuine remorse for the harm you caused. You show that you understand how your actions affected the other person and that you truly regret causing that pain. Fourth, you commit to specific changes that will prevent the same mistake from happening again. You don't just promise to do better. You explain exactly how you'll do better. The right apology at the right time can save relationships that seemed beyond repair. It can restore trust that seemed permanently broken. It can turn your worst mistake into your greatest opportunity for connection. People respect those who can admit when they're wrong. It takes courage to face your failures. It takes maturity to put relationships above pride. It takes wisdom to see mistakes as opportunities for growth. The person who apologizes well doesn't make the same mistakes repeatedly. They learn from their errors. They grow from their failures. They become better because they're willing to acknowledge when they've been worse. Great apologies also prevent small problems from becoming big ones. When you address mistakes quickly and sincerely, you stop them from festering. You prevent resentment from building. You maintain trust instead of having to rebuild it later. But apologies must be genuine to be effective. People can tell when you're apologizing because you have to versus because you want to. They can sense when you're sorry for the consequences versus sorry for your actions. A genuine apology comes from understanding the impact of your actions on another person. It comes from caring more about their well-being than your comfort. It comes from valuing the relationship more than your pride. The best apologies also include changed behavior. Words without action are just manipulation. But when your apology is followed by consistent different behavior, it proves your sincerity. Some people avoid apologizing because they think it makes them look bad. The opposite is true. Refusing to apologize when you're wrong makes you look weak, prideful, and immature. Taking responsibility makes you look strong, humble, and trustworthy. The inability to apologize damages every relationship eventually. Friends drift away. Family members become distant. Colleagues lose respect. Partners lose faith. But the ability to apologize well strengthens every relationship. It builds trust. It demonstrates humility. It shows that you value others enough to admit when you've failed them. Here's your challenge today. Think about someone you owe an apology to. Maybe it's for something recent, or maybe it's something that's been weighing on you for a while. Give them a real apology. Take full responsibility. Express genuine remorse. Commit to specific change. Don't make excuses or shift blame. Just own what you did and how it affected them, because a great apology doesn't just repair the past, it builds a better future. It shows others that you're someone who can be trusted to make things right when you make them wrong. And that's the kind of person everyone wants in their life. You don't need to prove yourself when you know yourself. Let your calm conviction do the work. The most confident people in the room are often the quietest, not because they doubt themselves, but because they don't need external validation to know their worth. Here's what most people don't understand about confidence. It's not about being loud or dominating conversations. It's about being comfortable with who you are, regardless of who's watching. Quiet confidence is magnetic. It draws people in instead of pushing them away. It invites respect instead of demanding it. It creates influence through presence, not pressure. The person with quiet confidence doesn't need to be the center of attention. They don't need to prove they're the smartest person in the room. They don't need to one-up everyone else's stories. They're comfortable with silence. They're okay with not having all the answers. They're secure enough to ask questions and admit when they don't know something. But let me ask you this. What's the difference between confidence and arrogance? Confidence is quiet. Arrogance is loud. Confidence lifts others up. Arrogance puts others down. Confidence is secure. Arrogance is insecure, pretending to be secure. Confident people don't feel threatened by others' success. They celebrate it. They don't need to diminish others to feel better about themselves. They find strength in supporting others' strength. Quiet confidence shows up in how you handle criticism. You don't get defensive or aggressive. You listen thoughtfully and consider whether there's truth in what's being said. You're secure enough to learn from feedback instead of rejecting it. It shows up in how you handle praise. You don't deflect it or minimize it, but you don't let it go to your head either. You accept it gracefully and use it as motivation to continue growing. It shows up in how you handle conflict. You don't avoid it or escalate it. You address it calmly and directly. You focus on solving problems rather than winning arguments. The quietly confident person doesn't need to be right all the time. They'd rather be helpful. They don't need to have the last word. They'd rather have the right word at the right time. This kind of confidence is built on self-knowledge, not self-promotion. It comes from understanding your strengths and accepting your weaknesses. It comes from knowing your values and living by them consistently. Quiet confidence doesn't need to announce itself. It speaks through your actions, your consistency, your integrity. People feel it in your presence even when you're not saying a word. The beauty of quiet confidence is that it makes others feel comfortable. They don't feel like they're competing with you or being judged by you. They feel like they can be themselves around you. This creates deeper connections and stronger relationships. People are drawn to those who make them feel accepted and valued. They trust those who don't need to prove themselves at others' expense. Quiet confidence also makes you a better leader. You don't need to micromanage because you trust others to do good work. You don't need to take all the credit because you're secure in your contributions. You don't need to control every outcome because you're confident in your ability to handle whatever comes. The challenge with quiet confidence is that it can sometimes be overlooked in a world that rewards the loudest voices. But this is actually its strength. While others are busy promoting themselves, you're busy improving yourself. While others are talking about what they're going to do, you're quietly doing it. While others are trying to impress people, you're busy serving them. Quiet confidence is patient. It doesn't need immediate recognition or instant results. It trusts that consistent good work will eventually be noticed and appreciated. It's also resilient. When setbacks come, quiet confidence doesn't crumble. It adapts. It learns. It gets back up and continues moving forward without drama or fanfare. Here's your challenge today. Practice quiet confidence in one area where you normally feel the need to prove yourself. Maybe it's in meetings where you usually try to dominate the conversation. Maybe it's in social situations where you feel pressure to impress others. Instead of talking more, listen more. Instead of trying to prove how much you know, ask questions that show you're interested in learning. Instead of seeking attention, give attention to others. Because quiet confidence doesn't just command respect, it earns it. And respect that's earned through character lasts much longer than attention that's demanded through volume. How you handle success is just as revealing as how you handle setbacks. Both write your story. The true measure of character isn't what you do when you're winning, it's what you do when you're losing. And even more telling, it's how you act when you win. Here's what most people don't understand about success and failure. They're both temporary, they're both teachers, and they're both tests of who you really are when the masks come off. Success reveals character just as much as failure does. When things go well, do you become arrogant or grateful? Do you forget the people who helped you or remember to thank them? Do you think you've figured it all out or stay curious about what you can learn next? Failure also reveals character. When things go wrong, do you blame others or examine yourself? Do you give up or get back up? Do you make excuses or make improvements? But let me ask you this. Which version of yourself do others remember more? How you handle victories or how you handle defeats? Staying humble when you win means remembering that success is rarely achieved alone. There were mentors who guided you, colleagues who supported you, and opportunities that others provided. Humility acknowledges these contributions. It also means recognizing that success often includes an element of luck, being in the right place at the right time, having advantages others didn't have, or simply catching a break when you needed it most. Humble winners don't rub their success in others' faces. They don't become condescending or act like they're better than people who haven't achieved the same results. They remember what it felt like to struggle. Staying steady when you lose means not letting setbacks define you. It means treating failure as feedback, not as a final verdict. It means learning from what went wrong without letting it destroy your confidence or your character. Steady people in defeat don't blame others, make excuses, or give up. They take responsibility for their part in the failure. They analyze what they can learn. They make adjustments and try again. The person who stays, humble in victory and steady in defeat, becomes someone others want to work with, learn from, and support. They create trust because people know they won't change based on circumstances. Your response to both success and failure becomes part of your reputation. People remember how you celebrated your wins and how you handled your losses. Both become part of your story. The most respected people I know have experienced both significant successes and significant failures. But what made them respected wasn't the outcomes. It was how they handled both with grace, humility, and dignity. When you win with humility, others celebrate with you instead of resenting you. When you lose with grace, others respect you instead of pitying you. Both responses build relationships instead of damaging them. Success handled well opens doors for more success. People want to work with winners who haven't forgotten how to be human. Failure handled well opens doors for second chances. People want to give opportunities to those who learn from their mistakes. The goal isn't to avoid failure or to downplay success. The goal is to let both experiences make you better rather than bitter, stronger rather than harder, wiser rather than cynical. Here's your challenge today. Think about a recent success and a recent failure in your life. How did you handle each one? Did your responses build your character and relationships, or did they damage them? If you have a success to celebrate, make sure you're sharing credit with others who contributed. If you have a failure to process, focus on what you can learn, rather than who you can blame. Because how you handle both winning and losing doesn't just write your story, it determines whether others want to be parts of that story. And the best stories are always written by people who stay humble when they win and steady when they lose. In the end, it's not the big moments, it's the daily ones. And how you handle them shapes what people remember. Your reputation isn't built in a single grand gesture. It's built in 1,000 small ones. Each interaction, each choice, each moment when you think no one is paying attention, they're all adding up to something larger. Here's what most people don't understand about reputation. It's not what you do once in a while when you're motivated. It's what you do consistently when no one is watching, when you're tired, when it's inconvenient. The details matter because they reveal the truth about who you are. Anyone can be impressive occasionally, but character shows up in the mundane moments, how you treat service workers, how you respond to minor inconveniences, how you handle small frustrations. Your reputation is built on these details and preserved through consistency. People trust you not because you were perfect once, but because you were reliable repeatedly. But let me ask you this. If someone followed you around for a month and watched every interaction, every decision, every small choice, what reputation would you earn? Reputation is fragile and valuable. It takes years to build and seconds to destroy. One moment of poor judgment can overshadow years of good behavior. One ethical lapse can erase decades of integrity. But reputation is also resilient when it's built on genuine character. If people truly know who you are because you've shown them consistently over time, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt when you make mistakes. The strongest reputations are built on patterns, not events. People remember that you always follow through, that you're consistently kind, that you reliably do what you say you'll do. These patterns become your personal brand. They become what people expect from you. They become the reason others seek you out, recommend you, and trust you with important things. Building reputation through details requires attention to the small things others might ignore. It means being thoughtful about every interaction. It means caring about how you make others feel in ordinary moments. Consistency is what separates those with good reputations from those with great ones. Anyone can be excellent sometimes. Only the disciplined are excellent consistently. This consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about being predictably good. It's about having values that don't change with your mood, standards that don't slip when you're under pressure. The details that build reputation are often invisible to those performing them. You don't get credit for all the times you chose integrity over advantage. You don't get applause for all the small kindnesses no one noticed. But these invisible moments accumulate into visible character. They create a reputation that precedes you into every room, every relationship, every opportunity. Your reputation becomes your legacy. Long after you're gone, people will remember not what you said about yourself, but what you consistently showed them about who you were. The beautiful thing about building reputation through details is that it's never too late to start. Every interaction is a new opportunity. Every day is a fresh chance to demonstrate your values. You don't need permission to begin building a better reputation. You don't need a platform or an audience. You just need to start paying attention to the details and committing to consistency. Here's your final challenge. For the next week, pay attention to every small interaction. How you answer the phone, how you respond to emails, how you treat people when you're in a hurry. Choose to make each small moment reflect the person you want to be known as. Be kind when it's easy and when it's hard. Be reliable when it's convenient and when it's not. Be honest when it helps you and when it doesn't. Because reputation is earned in the details and preserved in consistency. And when you master both, you don't just build a good reputation, you build a character worth respecting and a life worth remembering you already have what it takes. Now go prove it.